Whew, that's some real shit, boo-boo. Everything is political and everything is spiritual. So the more you are spiritually awakened, the more you are awakened to the amount of spiritual warfare that is going on geopolitically with everything going on in the world and how that affects each and every being on earth, each and every moment, all the time, all of our lives. Like, it's not just collective, it is personal on every single level. You know how deeply it rings true that we are truly not free until we are all free. And it can be so disheartening, horrifying, to say the absolute least, to see how truly unfree our society, our world is, our home is, due to not just a very select few people, but the way we are all, in one way, shape, or form, upholding that system, whether it be because we have to or because we want to. Still, I can't help but feel like this is one of those glass half empty, glass half full moments, or I guess technically it would be glass mostly empty, but at least has a few drops in it scenarios. This is where radical hope and collective decolonizing work comes in. Because like you said, you'll have these moments with people where their eyes will light up, a new part of them will awaken, and their neural pathways start to change, and you can see it right in their eyes because they're thinking in a way that they weren't before. But then, like you said, it goes back to normal. But I was thinking about that statistic I saw years ago about how, as far as nonviolent revolutions or societal movements go, because a revolution isn't really nonviolent, let's be honest here. And so I was thinking about that violent, nonviolent part, and the statistic that intuitively came to my head is probably more likely 30% to really shift, right, on a larger scale. And there was a study that came up that confirmed this. I'm going to have to look more into it, but according to the Google AI summary, like I said, I have to look more into this. But it is, again, close to what I intuitively thought, which is just one of those, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not things. It states that the tipping point of that societal shift takes about 25% of a committed minority actively reaching the general population. And when you think about it on a large scale, of course, it feels overwhelming because there's millions and millions of people in the world. But if you think about it on a smaller scale, only 2 to 3 out of 10. When placed into that perspective, the endeavor of creating those moments of enlightenment and revelation and growth with others, it doesn't seem as overwhelming. So quite literally, the more we start trying to have those conversations, the better off things will be, which I know that we know, but it's hard to remember that in the midst of all the chaos. But that's what they're hoping for, right? They're hoping that we get lost in all the chaos and darkness of it all and lose that perspective of how small actions domino into a big difference, can domino effect into your community and into those people's communities, and then it just dominoes all over. It's moments like this where, like many millennial girlies, I think back to that quote from The Princess Diaries, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else is more important." And I think about it and I apply it to radical hope in this case, right? Holding radical hope does not mean that you don't feel a sense of hopelessness. To me, it is looking around and deciding that it is more important to do what you can to build a better future instead of getting lost in all of the pieces that are falling. This comment just really got me thinking, and I wanted to share my thoughts. So let's keep the conversation going. Let me know your thoughts specifically about radical hope and the responsibility we all have to do what we can in every single moment to try to break out of the systems which we are forced to or choose to uphold. Yeah, love you, here for you. Yeah, I know it's bleak, but still, the only way out is through. So yeah, we got this.